Hello, and thank you very much for pressing play on this tutorial to discuss startup brands. So if you fall into that list as any of the categories, you're at the right place. You want to get a company going, a project going, a not-for-profit going, and you don't know where to start to design a brand, no problem. This tutorial is meant to give you a quick and easy roadmap to actually get this activity done. So who's this guy? I've done it a few times, and I'm simply sharing what I've learned along the way and some interesting tools and websites to get all this stuff done. So I've been in business for a long time, mostly on the smaller side of the fence from a company side, so had to learn to do a whole lot of things by myself, and this is one of them. So let's get into it, because you need a brand if you clicked play. So first things first, image matters. I'm a big believer in setting up the right intonation, the right impression out of the gate. So image matters. It's like when you are looking at a plate of food. You will have tasted it with your eyes. So your customers will react the same way to your organization. They will have applied judgment, good or bad, on the first time they see something from you. So it's a matter of looking serious and dressing the part and being in the part. So also, you do not want to look like a startup. Startups are super cool, don't get me wrong, I love them, but I want to bring you to the dogs on the side here. Which one would you buy from? The 7-pound startup that's 3 months old, or the 6-year-old, 135-year-old competitor? Who's going to give you the best impression, right? So this tutorial's goal is, at the end of the day, trying to get you from 7 to 135 pounds. No diet needed. And you have a budget. And if you don't, it's okay. We can get away with really cool stuff done online in this day and age. Let's capitalize on these available tools. And will what you designed the first time around change? Oh, yes, it will. Definitely. Just don't expect to put this logo everywhere for the next 40 years and this tagline and this vision statement. It's all going to change. And that's fine, because change is good. So key brand stuff. Let's jump right into it. The first thing is, before you design your brand and build all that mumbo jumbo, you want to understand who you sell to and who you compete against, because that will give you the basic elements from what to build from. Colors, tone, dialogue, intonation, vision statement, everything. Look at your audience, who they are, what they do, but look at your competitors, because they've done that work before you, and you can capitalize on what they've done. Second thing is, who are you? You have to define who you are, and that gravitates around the first point in this bullet, but also who do you want to be, what do you want to project, what's your uniqueness, what's the personality of the organization, what makes you awesome at the end of the day. Now, we want clarity. There's nothing worse than blur. If you're not clear for all those items, customers will go like, I'm not sure. And when customers go, I'm not sure, they typically don't have that motivation to go to the next steps. Inconsistency, that thing that you need to do across the organization, from everything you publish to every single employee's email signatures to product manuals, internal documents, etc. Consistency, you can also equate it to discipline to some extent. And if you go around and get those 4 items down before you start designing, you have a basic roadmap. Let's look at Red Bull and what they've done. And I'm using Red Bull because everybody knows Red Bull, and there's a bazillion sites out there which do a really, really good job of detailing those kind of things. And in this tutorial, we're not going to go over super high details and all that content. I just want to get you started. So we're not going to go over vision statement and mission statements and values. There's so many online resources which will do a much better job than I would. So instead of trying to push something your way, look for the real experts on those topics. It's an art form to some extent. So, but back to Red Bull. Who do they sell to? I like to call their audience intense individuals. You know exactly what I mean. Their competitors are caffeinated drinks and sports drinks primarily. Right? They want to get go, go, go. That audience. The uniqueness of the organization is, well, the logo is pretty unique. I mean, two bulls facing each other in front of a yellow dot, which looks like a sun. And it's high impact, high visibility. The font looks really unique as well. They probably paid somebody to design that just for them. You don't need to do that. And it has a limited number of colors as well in regards to clarity, because if you have like 16 colors in your logo, what is going to look like everywhere? Just keep things simple. You're not there to sell image unless you're an image consultant, but if you're watching this, you're probably not an image consultant. You're probably in a tech startup or similar type of organization, so keep it simple. Focus on what you're good. And their vision is giving wings to people and ideas. I mean, it's simple, it's direct, it's fun. I like what Red Bull did personally. The mission, Google it, read it. I'm not going to bore you with it. And their values are people, ideas, and culture. It's pretty common, but it's important to state those things. And consistency, look at how Red Bull executes on their brand, from the corner store where you get your coffee in the morning to Formula One races. It's just like across everything they do, the same way, the same look, the same everything. They do a really good job at it. So look at brands. There's websites to compare brands. Do some homework. It's worth investing a few minutes in this, if not a few hours. So before we get started, did you do your homework? And you didn't know you needed to do homework, but yes, you do. I also have another tutorial on validating your startup. And if you haven't validated your startup of what you're selling, why people are buying, who's your audience, and all those things, building your brand is kind of pointless at this stage. It could be fun, but it's going to be redone, because once you validate everything, you're going to go like, oh, yeah, doesn't work anymore. So my advice, go watch this quick tutorial, have fun, enjoy. I try not to be boring as usual, and hopefully it's going to be really useful for you guys. So we need a company name when we design a brand. That's the complicated one. It's so hard. Came up with Rock8fuel with a lot of iterations, but I wanted something significant, unique, memorable, short. I like short because long is hard. Short is easy. You see where I'm going with this? And you can do makeup words, and that's fine. If you look at the way I write Rock8fuel, it's ROCK8, the number FUEL. So I made up that word. And I've done a whole bunch of word association ideas, mumbo jumbo, brainstorming with a buddy of mine, and because I want to be in a position to accelerate your business, Rock8fuel, that works. And I needed help. I looked at AI generators to try to find stuff. Ultimately, the humans won over the AI. But if you don't know where to start, there's some really interesting tools out there to get you started, at least from an idea discussion perspective. Namelix and Luca are two that I've found, which are easy to use. You'll get you started. And look for a .com if you can. I know it's so hard to do, and it's not as prized as it used to be, but still, the social reflex, the human reflex is .com. So if you can aim for .com, go for it. And go for something appropriate if there's nothing available. I'm helping a not-for-profit getting started, good people I know, and we actually did all this stuff, and they're going to show me what they've done and on their own time, because I just started a conversation with them. We're doing this Friday this week after I've recorded this, and I'm looking forward to it. And it's that process that they're going for, along with a value statement, mission statement, and values. So look for something that makes sense, and please keep it short. Short company name, short domain name. That's beautiful. A friend of mine asked me to review her business once, and the first thing I've told her is that your domain name has more letters than the alphabet. That's not good. So keep it short, keep it direct, keep it creative. Made up words are good. There's online help. So get started. You don't need to finish today, but at least get started. Now, once you've done your brand name, your company name, you need to find colors. And there's a whole wacky bunch of colors out there, as you know, that you can leverage, and they all mean something. So what do you do to choose what makes the most sense? There's a whole bunch of websites. I listed the infographic for the Psychology of Color blogspot, HubSpot. If you download the slides from my website, it's all hyperlinked, everything I do. And the Psychology of Color, the first time I've played with this years ago, I was like, oh, this is interesting. And your competitors are a guide. They actually, again, have done a lot of work in your space, so you can actually reuse some of their learnings that are coming out through their brand. So there's a reason why certain things happen certain ways in certain business sectors. I mean, there's some examples I've listed there, like I went with blue because I want to be trustworthy, loyal, dependable, right? This is like consultant guy, trustworthy, dependable, right? I'm on a not-for-profit as well. It's a climate tech startup, so health, hope, etc., nature, we're in green. If you look at other colors, they all have their own significance. Go look at the infographic. It's a great start. And red, and I like to bring that up all the time, pay attention that fast food brands are typically red. Why? It stimulates hunger. It's subtle, but it's there. So go through the process, go through the motions, think about who you are, what you do, who you sell to, what you want to project, and then start picking some colors. And there's tools out there and more documentation, but you need to be aware that if you do something in red, it may mean something. And if you do something in green, it may mean something. So once you've done all those things, you do your logo. I'm able to do a whole wacky bunch of things on my own. I have some basic graphic design skills, but not everybody does. Not everybody has the patience. So again, instead of reinventing the wheel, and you're no good at arts and crafts, like I am, your competitors are a guide. If your market sector competitors are all with very conservative looking logos, that is an indicator. If you're looking at your competitors from a different angle, from a different audience, and they all have very modern looking logos, that gives you an idea of the tone that you want to aim for. And then it's time to design. And I love those processes. If you've never or have very limited graphic skills, there's help out there. If you've watched my other videos that talk about software tools, you know I love Canva. Canva is such a lifesaver and a time saver. You can actually get a logo started and finish it off very quickly. It's going to look professional. If you have a beer level budget, friends, families, typically have some graphic designers in that social network. Ask for help. Ask for whatever you can get, I guess. And if you need to hire a human to do work, I like to point people in the startup phase to Fiverr because you can get some good stuff done on a very small amount of money. I could not do that logo. My aid of Rock8fuel, I'm limited there. So picked up somebody on Fiverr that I found. You're that level supplier. You've got these many reviews, and they're all 4.5 and above. You shop and reached out. I said, I want this. Can you do it? And it's okay if you draw it on a napkin and email it to them. I've designed stuff for designers in the past in PowerPoint. They laughed at me. What do you mean you design on PowerPoint? But the message got across, and they came back with what I needed. It was really funny. And basically, she designed that whole thing for me, and really happy. And if you want to go into use tools to get some ideas, again, Brandmark, Luca, I've put Rock8fuel and a few other parameters in there, and they came up with those three, which are quite presentable. It's up to you to decide if you want to go and press on that purchase button at the end, and it's quite affordable usually. It's probably cheaper than buying services on Fiverr, or in the same price range, and you can get it done. Boom, no wait. It depends on you what you want, and etc. It's up to you. It's your brand. Now, once you've done all those things, we need to assemble what is known as a brand kit. So you're going to have your brand guidelines where you're going to be using this, that, where, how, color, font, all that stuff. You want to make sure that everything is clear so there's no questions to be asked. There's a bunch of templates online. Your logo is going to be part of that. Make sure you have your logo in a whole series of formats. I'm going to spare you the technicalities, but make sure you have a good amount of variants of your logo. Colors used. It's really important that you document every colors that you're going to be using in the logo and in your general brand, and because your website's the next thing that's coming along, right? So hex codes, it's those six-digit hexadecimal codes, which can be F0124A, which means something which translates to a color. And make sure you document everything so everybody uses the same codes all the time. Again, consistency, discipline. Don't guess, it's not worth the effort. Fonts. Typically you want to go with 2 because it's simple and it works. A font for headlines and a font for text. There you go. Problem solved. Don't go funky. Don't go crazy. Don't go wild. It needs to be readable. I know there's a whole bunch of cool fonts out there. Resist temptation. Other artwork. If you have product and other stuff, like product template images and all that stuff, put them in. It's part of your brand kit. And from there, you'll have your templates that you can generate. I've used Lookup to generate that. You don't need to use that tool. I've never used it before I made this video, but I found it really cool. And you can actually design your whole brand kit. And they have competitors. You can look around for stuff. So there's ways to get around hurdles, costs, and time restraints. Enjoy. This is the fun part. Website. If you know me, you know I like websites. Before you go and design your website, choose your website platform based on who you are, what you do. I have a video on that. If you've never chosen a website hosting platform, there's a few subtle things to know. Go watch that thing. You'll save a few hours, or so I hope. And templates. You're like, yeah, I know about templates, but templates are so important because you can get away with looking like an $800 million company by spending very little to no dollars if you apply the right tools. And templates is one of those. If you play with Shopify, and I'm working on a Shopify project right now for my own education, I started with a free template, and it's quite usable. It's quite satisfactory, in fact. I like Wix and Squarespace for different reasons. You'll know if you watch the video, and the supplied ones are really good. Usually you can start with that, and eventually you can get a graphic designer to tweak everything up, but out of the box you can get something done. And if you're going WordPress, again, link in PDF of the slide deck. There's some really good free WordPress templates. One that I remember using, and it's number 1 on the list, is Ocean or Ocean WP, and you can get something done real quick, real nice. And the basic template is free. If you wanted expanded features, of course they're going to charge you. So continuing on a website, again, it's about projecting the image you want, right? Mockup templates. If you have mockups that you need to put on, try to find the right way of displaying those. If you can't take physical photographies or this or that, there's other ways to get around, and mockup templates can be really good for that. Play with those, depends on what you do. If you're building a smartphone app, well, there's a whole wacky bunch of them, and there's a ton that are free. But if you work more in different types of objects and you want to get a bit more variety, I like Placeit.net. It's a cost-driven system, but it's worth the look. You decide if you want to use it or not. I find it really cool personally. Clear, concise information and navigation. Again, your website is not meant to be something complicated. It's meant to grab a visitor and turn your visitor into a prospect. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. Your brand will help you achieve those objectives. And last but not least, do some lead capture. Again, not gonna discuss this for 20 hours here, but just friendly reminder. And last but not least, voice. I'm probably the only person in the world who's going to talk to you about voice in a branding context. Why? Because I like to look at the branding effort as something to look much bigger than you are, right? You want to project something. Let's do the full circle loop around the planet kind of thing. And voice is interesting and important. So if you work in a B2B context or even B2C, depending on what you do, get a phone number, please. It's super cheap. And you can do a lot with a phone number. In the contact page, if you put a phone number along with the email address and the contact form, the odds of decision makers reaching out because they see a phone number are actually higher. I don't have any math for that. It's just contextual observations I've made. But for the amount of effort that's there, you're going to look legit. You have a corporate phone number. You're not working out of the garage, etc. And B2C, like I said, it depends, right? If you don't want to have customers calling you, I don't blame you, depending on what you do. And no, your mobile is not sufficient because it's going to ring at dinner time or when the kids are going to sleep, or you get what I mean. Get a separate phone number. It's actually super cheap, and a PBX is a good thing. A PBX is that voice system that drives a company's telephony. Like when you call into XYZ and hello, welcome to, and press 1 for sales, press 2 for customer service, 3 for support, etc. You can get one done on the easy, and it's surprisingly simple in 2022 as I'm recording this. Key low cost players I like Google Voice. It's so simple, and you build your menus and everything, and the pricing is really, really simple, and it's quite affordable. Same with Microsoft Teams. Personally, I use a lot VoIP.ms because I have dabbled in the black arts of voice telephony over the internet for years. It's not an easy system, but it's the cheapest out there, and it works well. Depends of who you are and what you do. If you don't want to acquire the technical skills to run a phone system, Google Voice, Microsoft Teams. And if you want to find out more about telephony and what you can do, of course I've got a tutorial on this. It's me. And please go click play. It's easy. And last but not least, if you really want to sound like the $800 million corporation, Fiverr has voice artists for phone systems. You can get a full phone system done for not a lot of money, and you get a professional voice artist to do it for you. Again, first impression is worth a lot. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for pressing play. If there's anything, drop me a line. I'll be glad to give you some help and or just answer questions. Have a great day.